currents were. All right. So lastly, let's talk about this. Just Sanders goes into this debate. I think, tell me if you think you've heard anything or have any sense that it's going to be wrong. He's going to make his case probably by bringing in a lot of what's going on with the C word right now for a broader sort of social democratic, vision of what America could be. Biden's going to go out there and say, a combination of some platitudes and some narrowly tailored, we need to address these things. And Donald Trump's not the guy to do it. What happens on Tuesday? I mean, if none of this was going on, I would say, like, there's no reason to believe he's going to do better in Arizona. There's no reason to believe he's going to do better in Florida. No reason to believe he's going to do better in Illinois or Ohio. But I don't know, like, the electorate that comes out now is going to could very well be very, very different. I mean, Bernie Sanders wins overwhelmingly under the age of 45. He loses overwhelmingly over the age of 45. And if I had to predict who's going to come out in this environment, I would say one or the other. I don't know.
But what's fascinating, and this, we don't have surveys or anything on this yet, so this is more impressionistic, but paradoxically, it appears to me that people under 45 are taking the C word much more seriously than people over 45, who just to generalize, seem to have an attitude of, let's party. Like, this is, we've been through all kinds of scares. This is just the media ginning stuff up. We're going to be fine. Whereas people under 45 are thinking, you know what, I'm probably personally going to be fine because even if I get it, I'll survive it because I'm not in the high risk category, which may or may not be true. We'll see. Right. Don't go banking on that. Right. But I should be careful because I don't want to infect older people. So it's this bizarre situation where younger people are taking it more seriously on behalf of older people who themselves are not taking it seriously. So while you would think, just from common sense, that the effect of the pandemic would be that older people would stay home and younger people would go out to the polls, it might actually end up being the opposite. But
do you think that's a function of social media? Do you think that's a function because do you think that's a function of social media? Because younger people tend to be on social media. So they're seeing, like, I haven't spoken to anybody under the age of 50 who cannot recite that, those two threads from the Italian doctors, right? Where they talk about, like, we're having to make decisions now on who to intubate and who to not. And, in terms of, like, who gets the respirators and who don't, and if you look at the legacy media, right? I mean, if you look at Fox, it's like, folks, this is ridiculous. We are a country of huggers.
The flu.
We're a country of huggers. And if you're not hugging, you're really fundamentally, letting the terrorists win or something. And,
letting the foreign virus win.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a handshaker. And if you can't shake hands, there's no point in being an American or whatever it is. And I mean, I just wonder, and if that's the case, I wonder how savvy both Biden and Sanders will be about this on Sunday, because presumably, right, like, all those primary goers are going to be tuning into that. And if like they get out the message that is really the actual message, like, that, like, hey, wait a second, older people really need to be creating some social distance right now. I wonder if that's going to end up impacting the electorate. I mean, these are all questions that who knows. And then, just to take it a step further, let's say that, the turnout in Florida is like half of what we've seen relative to other places. And in Arizona is half of what we've seen in other places. In Illinois is 2/3 of what we've seen in other places, right? In terms of, like, how we would extrapolate. And they're like, the numbers of people under the age of 40, instead of representing, 40% of the electorate, end up representing 65% of the electorate. Sanders gets back into the campaign. I'm just, throwing out a scenario here. I don't know that it's likely, but I mean, from day to day, I can't tell you what's likely on anything.
They would end the primary.
You think
that night?
You think they would shut it down?
Yeah, they'd be like, wait a minute, we're not, because they'd say this is not fair.
Right.
Sanders just won these 4 states in landslides. He didn't deserve to. He only won because these irresponsible people came out and voted, and the responsible old folks stayed home. So this doesn't count. Biden's the nominee.
Right.
And they would find some way to make that be the case if the scenario that you described is the one that unfolds. But I think your point about social media is really insightful and might be explaining a large degree of what we're witnessing with the disparate reactions to the crisis that old people just, they don't get it yet.
Right. And because
maybe they will by Tuesday, though.
Right. And
the exponential function is at work.
If that scenario, which I've just outlined, and I think that has, I don't know, we can say, let's say it has a 5% chance of happening, which is, basically, let's say 5%, because it seems like 5% comes in a lot these days, right?
Yes, it sure does.
and
a lot less comes in a lot.
And I think the reaction will be exactly like you're saying. And man, oh man.
How do you operationalize that?
I don't and how do you the best scenario for Democrats under that is that there's no physical convention, right? Because I mean, I just think things are going to get super messy. All right.